We're done with lesson 1, and that is the different reproductive parts of a flower. Now let us remember that the mode of reproduction of flower is asexual reproduction. Now let us proceed with lesson 2, and let us have the different modes of reproduction of other plants. So in this lesson, you are expected to name examples where these reproductive parts are found, such as corm, bulb, stolons, tubers, and runners. Okay, let us try to look some of the following pictures. I hope that these pictures are familiar with you, that you have already seen this in your mother's kitchen, or your mother has already used this in cooking. Okay, so are these pictures or plants have flowers? Or what do you think is the part that let the plant grow? The following plants that I've shown you a while ago have different kind of or mode of reproduction. They do not have flowers to reproduce their own kind, but they have a different mode of reproduction which they use in multiplying their own kind. So what do you think is this mode of reproduction that the following plants use? Okay, so they use asexual reproduction. What is asexual reproduction? Asexual reproduction in plant is creating a copy of a plant from the cell of only one parent. It does not need the male and female reproductive cell. This process is also called vegetative propagation. And what is vegetative propagation? Vegetative propagation needs parts of a mature plant that is not included in its reproductive parts. This may be leaves, stems, or roots. Okay, may I repeat? When we say vegetative, it has something to do with the parts of the plant that is not included in its reproductive part. Alright, so let us go back to the pictures that I've shown you a while ago. So the first picture is a taro. How does this plant grow or multiply? Okay, a taro is like a gabi. This is usually used in cooking sinigang, I think. Okay, so how is taro grown? Taro can be grown through corms, a vertical short stem that grows underground. It looks like a bulb, but when cut, it has a solid flesh. Okay, as you look into this picture, it is already been cut, and you look into the inside of this, it's like a solid flesh. All right. Then we have the next one is onions. Okay. Have you seen onions already? Okay, this onion is used in cooking also. Okay, how is onion being grown? Okay, onion can grow through bulbs, a stem surrounded by layers of fleshy leaves. Okay, these are layers of fleshy leaves. So when you cut an onion, you can see inside of this is layers of fleshy leaves. So a while ago, we say that a corm is like a bulb, while an onion is also a bulb. So what's the difference between a corm and a bulb? So a corm is rounded and it grows underground. So it has a scaly leaves. So, para siyang merong kaliskis. Okay, it is being surrounded by scales of leaves. Okay, this one. You look at this one. Ayan. This one also. It is covered with scales. Ayan. While a bulb is layers of fleshy leaves. They are modified leaves. Okay, so that's the difference between corms and bulbs. Let's have the next one. Oh, what is this one? Okay, this is a ginger, or in Tagalog we call it luya. So how is luya being grown? It may be produced through rhizomes. Okay, rhizomes are root-like stem that grows horizontally. Horizontally pahiga sila kung dumami. Alright, so let us look into other plants. Okay, so let's look into other plants like this. Okay, are you familiar with this plant? Have you eaten one like this plant? Okay, so these are strawberries. Where can you find strawberries? Okay, strawberries can be found in one of the coolest places in the Philippines. And where is that? Okay, it's in Baguio. How do farmers in Baguio multiply or plant strawberry? Okay, strawberries can multiply through stolons. What are stolons? Stolon is a creeping horizontal plant stem or runner that takes root at points along its length to form a new plant. So look at this one. These are stolons or runners. These are stems that spout above the ground. And look at that end of the runner. It has a new plant. Okay, so here, when this plant grow roots, that starts a new plant. All right, so they are runners. This is the mother plant. Okay, and then they grow new plants using their stolons or runners. All right, next one is a very familiar plant. Okay, which is sweet potato. Or in Tagalog, we say it is kamote. Alright, so kamotes are very familiar in the market. Napakarami niyan sa market. Okay, how are these sweet potato being grown? What kind of plant is a sweet potato? So, sweet potato are tubers. It is fleshy stem or root that grows underground, sa ilalim ng lupa. Okay, sila. Ayan. Those are the different plants that have asexual reproduction as its mode of reproduction. Okay, there are some plants that may grow by planting their leaves, while others grow along the edges of the plant. So, what do you think are some examples of these plants that can grow using their leaves? Okay, so chat it down. Okay, so here are some examples of plants that can grow through their leaves. Okay, mummies, are you familiar with this plant? All right. Its name is Mother of Millions. Why is it so that it is called Mother of Millions? Okay, let's look into it. Okay, why? Because when this plant multiply, it grows its new babies at the edge of the plant. So when these babies of the plant starts to grow roots, they fall onto the ground. So when they fall onto the ground, they start a new plant already. Okay, so that is why it is called Mother of Millions. So because when it multiplies, it really grows faster. Alright. So, very cute. So, those who have plants like this, our plantitos and plantitas, It is very easy for this plant to multiply. Okay, next we have another one, another kind that is also familiar to us. We call this as katakataka plant. Alright, so it is a katakataka plant. This plant also grow its babies at the edges of the leaves. It is also at the same with mother of millions. Alright. Okay, other plants may grow by cutting and planting their matured part of their stem. So a while ago, the plant uses its leaves in growing or multiplying its own kind. This time, it uses its stem in multiplying their own kind. So ask your mother or father who is sitting with you right now of what examples of plants that can be cut and planted using their stems. So here are some examples of plants that uses its stem to multiply. Okay, we have one. First is gumamela. Okay, here is the stem of a gumamela that is being cut. Next is a malunggay plant. All right. And the last one is a bougainvillea stem. Okay. So these plants uses their stems in growing their own kind. Ayan. Okay, so if you see that your gumamela or the malunggay and bougainvillea stem is already matured, you can replant them already. And this will grow into a new plant. So there you have it, kids. We are through with lesson 2 and I hope that you have learned a lot from it. So always remember that plants cannot only multiply using sexual reproduction, but also they can multiply through asexual reproduction. That means to say that the plant can multiply using its different parts. Now, with the knowledge that you have with or about vegetative propagation, I want you to help your parents replant the plants that you have already in your gardens. Okay, find some plants in your garden that uses its roots, stems, or leaves in multiplying their own kind. So tell your parents that there are plants that can grow using their stems, roots, and leaves. Okay, I hope that after this lesson, you will check on your gardens and look into plants that is already available in your garden and try to replant some of it. Okay? In order for me to see whether you really understood my lesson, may I request everyone to turn your modules on page 9 of lesson 2 and be able to answer assessment. Okay, the instruction is already stated in your module. And may I also request you to answer post-test, which is found on page 10 to 11. That ends my video for today, and I hope that you learned a lot from it and you enjoyed also watching it. So to Ma'am Shirley Ann Hernandez, Ma'am Marilyn Cortez, and Ma'am Jemily Laseñada, thank you for watching. To my dear pupils and my dear guardians and parents, thank you also for spending time watching my video. God bless. See you all in my next video. Bye.